call it the military now, seems that the military game is conditional. What it means by their thinking, or by my thinking, is that, look, if in 6 weeks' time the security situation is still the way it is, by their reckoning, we still cannot have elections. So what do we then have? How do we hand over in May 29? A script that we had heard downtown, back in the streets, it seems to be playing out. It was in the social media in 1 or 2 papers that, you know, the government might be looking at, the Jonathan camp are looking at maybe some interim government and so on and so forth. The way it looks is that a lot of people do not want Buhari in the driver's seat in this country. Okay, and well, with respect to my guest, I think that what we're heading downtown, even some people within the ABC, like it happened in Abiola's time, also might be thinking in the same vein. You know, and I'm saying this outside this my discussion with my guest. So anyway, I do not think that I have, and most Nigerians have that. Let's use a local word, the lever to go through what we went through in the June 12 crisis, where we kept, you know, the Abacha government came in, the Choneko came, and that one came, just because we refuse to bow to a democratic process all of us have agreed to. What is saddening is this. It is this same democratic process that brought in this government. And therefore, this government must surrender itself to the same, because let's face it, if you're talking about security forces, the president is the commander-in-chief, so he's directly responsible. He's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. So when you talk about security forces and the services are saying something, they cannot say these things without the permission and approval of their commander-in-chief. I leave you, everyone at home listening to this program, to reflect on this, and reflect on this, and make up your mind where you want your country to be in another 6 weeks. Right, so we'll now get back to oh my God. Sorry if I call him Jimmy once in a while. I use that what you say. All his 3 brothers, all your 3 brothers are called Jimmy.
Yes.
Well, why is that? Why?
Femi,
Yes.
who is the eldest,
Yes.
my older brother,
Yes.
used to play in the band and he moved.
Ah.
His nickname was Jebi.
Jebi.
So as we came, we just inherited the name.
He doesn't. So it's not head vice president, so I can take the liberty of calling him Jebi from time to time. Then when that happens, then excellency will start happening. I haven't changed one bit, I can assure you. Okay, now, I mean, everybody's expecting me to ask you this question straight up. What was your reaction to this development that we have now? What was your personal reaction, and what do you think the reaction of your party to be? Because I know your party hasn't met as a body.
Yes.
You're meeting today.
Yes.
So, what was your own reaction, you know, being a vice presidential candidate?
Well, and I say that this was a personal reaction.
Yes.
The personal reaction was one of disgust. I was disgusted. I thought that we had learned our lessons.
Yeah.
I was disgusted that government chose to be so devious with the people, dishonest with the people. I was just disgusted because, you see, we've gone through this before. We've been through this June 12th. We've been through this. We've been through government's reluctance, and this is an African thing. We've been through this. All over Africa, governments don't want to leave office, desperate to hang on to office, and they'll do anything. They'll postpone elections. They'll annul elections. They will muscle the opposition. They will do anything to remain in office. And I think that that's unfortunate indeed. I think that what we've seen here is deviousness of the highest order. I mean, if you recall, the NSA, about a week ago, at Chatham House in London, giving a speech in London, said that the reason why he thought that the elections should be postponed was because PVCs, the rate of collection of PVCs was low. That was the reason he gave.
Yeah.
He never once said that there was a security concern. In fact, days before then, the service chiefs had said they were prepared to give all the necessary security backing to INEC for the elections. They said they were all set to go. So, Sambo Dasuki flies a kite in London after what the security chief said. Don't forget that he's a national security advisor. Yeah. He wasn't talking about security. He was talking about PVCs. And then National Council of State meets. At the National Council of States, everybody presents their case. INEC says, we're absolutely ready. PVC collection is going on, and by the 8th, which would have been Monday or so, Sunday, there will still be PVC collection. Just to backtrack a bit, do you know that there has never been 100% PVC collection at any time?
Of course, I know that. Everybody knows that.
Osun State elections, 60% PVC collection. This same government wasn't concerned then. This same Sambo Dasuki was not concerned then about PVC collection. Ekiti elections, 60% collection or even less. This same Sambo Dasuki was not concerned. Government, good luck, Jonathan. Nobody was concerned about PVC collection. All of a sudden, they are now worried about disenfranchisement of the Nigerian people. They are now concerned about disenfranchisement. So what are we looking for? 100% PVC collection? Or what exactly will set the standard? But then that's besides the point. Because it turns out that as of yesterday morning, INEC now gets a letter from the service chiefs saying we are no longer prepared to offer security for the election because we're going to be busy elsewhere.
I've never heard that.
It's incredible that all of the forces, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Nigerian Army,
and civil defense,
are trying to contain an insurgency which at the National Council of States they said was only in 14 local. Saying we are no longer prepared to offer the same security we had said barely 2 weeks ago we are prepared to offer. Then clearly,
did you ever have a discussion with General Buhari about what happened at the Council of States?
Oh no, yes, I have.
You have. What did he say the service chief said at the meeting?
No, I didn't discuss the details.
The details
with General Buhari, but I've had, a lot has come out in the press. A lot has also come out. I mean, we discussed just in one or two things because I've heard a lot from other people who attend the National Council of States. I've heard a lot. But a lot of that, I mean, what I rely on is what is evidence to everybody now. Yeah. And that is that at the Council of States, INEC said we are prepared to go on with the elections. At the Council of States, the Sambo Dasuki was supposed to have said that in his report was that Boko Haram was in control in 14 local governments. 14 local governments in all of the 774 local governments in Nigeria. That was Sambo Dasuki's report before the National Council of States, as far as I understand it.
Well, we don't know how your party is going to react because I don't want to, you haven't had a meeting. So we'll probably be getting to know that maybe next week or so on this program. But I have my fears, and I'd like to have your views on that, that there's not going to be any election in 6 again. Where would you then be in such a dispensation? As a lawyer, you're a professor of law and so on and so forth. That would be utterly illegal. What would your own personal feelings be? What kind of reaction would you want? Would you want to be seen from your own people about this?
Well, I think that if the ruling party were to do or to effect such a coup against the wishes of the Nigerian people
yes,
and against the constitution of Nigeria, what we will be looking for would be an opportunity for the rest of the world to say that these are indeed persons who have acted contrary to the Nigerian law, and also to all of the conventions and dictates of the international community today, of the international law. I think that what we'll be seeing will then be obviously a criminal conspiracy against the country, and we'll then find that that criminals have taken over power.
Yeah,
that will be what we'll be seeing. I doubt very much, and frankly, I don't think that they would do it.
You don't think so?
Do such a thing? No, I
but
don't think
but do you think this election would be postponed?
Well, we have been hearing rumors of it, but again, we are becoming accustomed to some of
all the surprises,
some of the impunity of this government, and I think that it's so sad. It's so sad that anyone would be so devious and would just, with such impunity, go against the wishes and go against the laws and go against the mores. Every convention, they've gone against every convention. You have declared almost a year ago elections to be held February 14th. Nothing changed. When you said elections to be held February 14th, the state of Nigeria is exactly the way it is, and
even worse
it is now, And if you now declare that for some strange reason, election cannot hold, when the Independent National Electoral Commission, which is supposed to be the sole body for determining when elections are to be held, says we are ready to go ahead, you now use the security chiefs to frustrate that by getting the security chiefs obviously to say we can't guarantee
at war. So I don't know. All right, but
and what is even more ironic is that in many of those countries, Nigerian troops are peacekeeping forces. Yes. And we are one of the finest armies in the world.
In the world, yes.
I am completely convinced that the service chiefs themselves are not convinced about what they've said. They're not convinced about it.
I wonder what their colleagues think.
No, I'm sure they're not convinced.
Well, how does it happen? I've never been. Yeah, maybe you've been on the federal government. I've never been in government. Do you think the service chiefs are talking for themselves, or they had the divisional, or the army council met? Or I don't know how it works out.
Frankly, I don't know.
You don't know.
Frankly, I don't know. But my take is that this is completely orchestrated. You don't need a sharp forensic mind to know that if Sambo Dasuki, the NSA, was talking about PVCs only a week ago, never mentioned anything about security, and even before the National Security Council, even before the Council of States, all that he said was that 14 local governments, in fact, that formed the basis for many of the former heads of state saying, look, if the insurgency is only in 14 local governments, then surely the elections can go on. And that cannot be a reason for postponing elections. That is why all of the past heads of states, without an exception, all of those who have governed this country, without one exception, said, yes, we should go ahead. That's why they said so. Because they heard reports. They heard everybody around the table. They heard from the service chiefs. They heard from Sambo Dasuki. They heard from INEC. So it's incredible that this turn of affairs will take place.
Well, I think it's slightly heartwarming to know that at that level all of them agreed, which means that definitely they won't be shutting their eyes now. They'll be telling some people some hard truths to say to them, look, You can't put the country on fire because of somebody's ambition. Okay, let's take a short break so that we can put that behind us and we can zoom into the thing that we normally do here. I want to put a microscope. I want to put, what do you call this thing for using to test your intestines so that see what's on the inside. Okay, Jimmy, what kind of music would you like?
Some gospel music is good.
When we were in school, we were playing gospel music. You don't listen to secular music? You don't listen to?
Hardly ever, frankly.
Not even jazz?
Hardly ever.
What, is it unchristian to listen to secular music?
You see, for me,
it's just by choice.
For me, it's really more of my choice.
Okay.
And you see, sometimes, with music, what you hear tends to inform how you think, and because it plays over in your mind time and time again. So if, for instance, what I'm hearing is sexual healing, sexual healing, that's what's going to be playing in my mind.
How you doing that?
All through the time. What I'm hearing is only people, whatever it is going to play over in my mind. So
oh my God!
Everybody has something up there.
Something, okay. Flo, do you have something for him? What's it called? I can't see from here.
It is well.
It is well. There's something wrong with my eyes.
I don't like that. It is, but that's it.
Okay, we just
something else. Did you have something else?
Yes.
It is well. It has a bit of sorrow. It's that funeral. It's the last song of those funerals.
CC Winans?
Yes, CC Winans.
Okay, so what's it called now?
King of Kings.
King of Kings.
What else do you have for CC Winans?
Without Love.
Alabaster Box.
Alabaster Box.
Alabaster Box.
Alabaster. And I'm not used to Christian music. I'm a Christian, nobody.
You need to be saved.
I'm saved. Jimmy, I'm saved. I don't look saved.
No, I know you are not saved.
I'm saved. Look at me.
You are not.
I'm saved, honestly. Okay, what are we playing now?
Alabaster Box.
Alabaster Box.
Yes.
Oh, okay, so we play
where the salvation is inside.
Where the salvation is inside. I requested for my good friend. All right, so we'll take a short break and we'll be right back. Wow, how's it going? Hi, comfortable. Did you bring your water?
He's got the party check. I'll change his check. We're just kicking.
Okay, yes.
His chair. It's a bit warm. Do you want to take off your jacket? Yeah. Let's change it. It's wicked. We call it the fatting chair.
Oh, really? Why did you just get it?
I should tell them now. Tell them how much them be. Tell your guy that the
But I was selfish on vice president.
So how's it going?
My paper.
Huh?
My paper.
Is that what?
And then he chose Alabaster Box and you're like, yeah. Or maybe you can also choose the second.
So you have an influencer on Twitter now.
So what do you want?
You want to get a picture?
Multitudes of followers.
Let me raise that paper with the phone numbers.
Are you taking a selfie or do you want me to take it by this?
You want to take a selfie?
Or do you want me to take it for you? Selfies are business. Like always. They believe selfies more. You have to do it. Okay, you can do it.
But I love it. This program is hot. You were fired in the beginning. You were fired in the beginning.
My praise on you.
Oh, cheers, I'm a fan.
PS.
You didn't pick that up.
PS, that picture is Classic FM Studio.
Okay, using my this generous.
I've been using your yes, and I've been taking some of mine because the light was better. I've sent them to your WhatsApp.
Amen.
Why do you like that? Where's the
That's why I'm telling Dami to bring this thing.
where's the telephone thing?
Let me bring it back.
Who has it? I'm not a Mama Daro. Don't I sound born again?
We know he is, but he doesn't sound
But
like
Babalola, champion, take on again. You like Anitoni here. Is that Anitoni or Dalala? I can imagine the likes of Jamba hearing the program. Where is Dele? I like I know you come with you. I know you come with you. Where's the number? Who took it? I've forgotten that we took
Dami,
the call it.
you took the phone number. Dami, you took the oh, thank you.
Yeah, let's go. Because people.
Are we done? We ready? Oh, you're really getting to it.
1 more minute.
I'm reading the tweets.
You must be
Let me see somebody so I can read. Okay. Huh? You want to read some of them?
This song there.
Okay, let's go.
Only 40 seconds. Just fade it out instead of us talking.
40 seconds.
Yes, we should do. Not alone.
Huh?
Okay, now let's go.
What's the loan? 20 seconds. What's the loan?
This is The Discourse with Jimi Disu.
Yeah, right back to the Discourse with Jimi Disu. And I still have as my guest Professor Osinbajo. He is the vice presidential candidate of the APC. I'm an old friend of mine. Don't worry, Prof. I'll be saved one day. If you want to be part of the program, you can call in 0909-2172973. You can tweet at us at Classic FM 97.3. You can send SMS at 33973. And you can call the other number 0787656030. We have some tweets here. Some of them are funny. Listen to this. It says, I wonder what Sheka will be feeling in Sambisa Forest now, with the service chiefs apparently scared of him. That's what somebody said. Somebody says, Adekule Makinde says it's a coup against democracy. Somebody says here, Ologuntere Kayode, listen to this. He says, the militancy in the South was as bad as the Boko Haram issue, yet GEJ Yaradra election went ahead and he won. Please, Ogadede, ask Prof what he would have done if he were Jega under such pressure. He's not Jega, so I won't ask him that question. He can think about it. He says, Olumiwa says, Professor Yemi Osinbajo is truly a professor. I love his coherence in speech and gentleness. That's another fan I have. Another one says, if you don't like Buhari, you can't help but admiring Professor Osinbajo and so on and so forth. And this one's laughing at me. He says, he says, Uncle Jimmy brought a pastor to the discourse. Next song, play him. Yeah, go. All right, let me see if we have any SMSs here. Somebody says, let me see now. It says, hello, Jimmy, please, as my future vice president, if he signed an agreement to hand over his position to Tinubu after he wins, that things like that don't happen. Ada here, greetings, Uncle Jimmy. Okay, that's from Ada. Who else? The president, through the services, couldn't guarantee security of life from a democratic duty. Isn't that an impeachable offense? Is that an impeachable offense?
It is. You can, of course. If the president says
yes
that I've lost the capacity to guarantee protection of lives and property,
yes,
then
for national duty,
the major constitutional duty of the president is the guarantee of the security of lives and property. And what is even more, we are not saying that this national duty is one that will take a month, 2 days.
2 days, yeah.
14th and 28th.
A few hours, actually.
If all of the forces of Nigeria, all the armed forces, the police, everyone, if they all come together and say we cannot guarantee security in Nigeria for 2 days, 14th and 28th, elections. Elections are going to hold for not 24 hours, just for a few hours on the 14th and 28th. Something is wrong. It's a major indictment.
That's how did you get into all this, dear? Even when you hadn't been saved, you had always been a gentle spirit. Those who are the Jaja people. That was the Balubites, El Kanemi. You didn't take part in the war because this is Corona. You don't have any scars. How did you get into all this? Tell me.
Let me put it this
How did you end up being made VP?
Let me put it this way. First, I have always been politically active, if not partisan politics.
I see.
I've been involved in civil society from the days of Nadeco and all those, but I've never really been partisan. But if you recall, I was appointed Attorney General in 1998, and I served for 8 years. In that period, I worked very actively in government, the government of Lagos State, and remained active when I left that position. I remained active within the ACN, more in the area of policy. I did a number of
card-carrying member of the ACN.
Well, yes, I was a card-carrying member. As a matter of fact, constitutionally, I wasn't a card-carrying member of the ACN until I was going into government. You know that the Constitution says that if you're going to be a commissioner or minister, you must be a card-carrying member of the party.
I didn't know that.
Oh, that's what the Constitution says. You must be.
So no hope for me.
Well, you would have.
I'm not carrying any card.
No. If you are going into government,
you get one immediately.
You will join the party. You'd have to join the party. That's constitutional. So, but I was not involved in politics or running for office or any kind of thing. I was also involved in the manifesto drafting committee of our party, the APC. I've always been involved anyway with the APC.
But don't think you ever thought that anybody would be drafting you? Who suggested this idea of vice presidency to you? Was it Achiwaju?
Frankly, it's difficult to tell because it was more like the leadership of the party at various times. My name came up, but my name was not the only name that came up. As you know, there were.
In fact, I thought that you were like second to the last time, at least.
As a matter,
knowing you,
as a matter of fact, you probably realize that most times my name would come up along with other names. So it really wasn't as though I was some kind of a front.
But who then made the offer to you? Who called you and said, Prof or Yemi, depending on his relationship with you, I'd like to discuss something with you?
It was more a group of people who when
who made the first suggestion?
When the decision was made.
Yes.
No, you mean
no?
After
before the decision was made, they must have spoken to you. Who first suggested to you? No, nobody did.
At various times, people had been speculated. And in these things, it's not as if somebody sits you down and says, well, what do you think about this or that? I mean, the names are coming up, they're being thrown up, and all of that.
But when the final offer was made, was it Buhari himself who told you?
No, it was not. It was a governor who called me.
It was a governor.
A governor. I'm not going to mention his name.
But I mean,
reasons of confidentiality.
For confidentiality. But can you tell us where he takes off from? I mean, if he's going to travel somewhere, where is he take off from? You won't fall for that.
Incidentally, let me explain how this went.
Okay.
I was in Abuja in a hotel room. I had my partner, my law partner, Mr. Dapo Akioshu, with me.
Okay.
We were to appear in the Supreme Court the next day, which was Tuesday morning. and we had our files in front of us, and we're reviewing those files because we were to appear in the Supreme Court the next day. This was about 12:30, almost 1 a.m. So a call comes through. It is this governor. And he says to me, we have to send a plane to pick you up in Lagos tomorrow morning. It's urgent. You are the one who has emerged as
the vice
presidential candidate. So I said, I'm not in Lagos, I'm here in Abuja. You're where? I said, I'm here in Abuja, I'm in a hotel. And the rest of it is history.
It's history. Yeah. Who did you call next?
First person I called, my wife.
Next person?
Next person I called, Pastor Liboye.
Really? Yeah. What did he tell you?
He was pleased. He said he was very happy to hear that. Of course, I had discussed with him earlier.
Oh, you had discussed with him
when this was being speculated.
What did he say?
He said if I was ever offered, I should take it. He said if we are offered that position, then definitely take it.
Does that mean that do you believe that means that he would support you?
Well, in every sense. I mean, he is my father in the Lord. Not just that, he's also a confidant. He's someone who I hold in high esteem. He's someone who I discuss personal issues with. He's the one who ordained me. And without a doubt, I mean, not only did he say I should go forward and ensure that I take it if I'm offered, he also prayed for me and was, very, very happy and pleased that this has come.
This brings me to a sad part of our lives that I consider very sad, that we never thought of. Look at all the time we're in Corona, all the time we're in Abuja, I was in MBHS, we meet at debates and so on and so forth. Friends ever since Unilag days. I was a Muslim then. It didn't mean anything.
No, it didn't.
Now we are divided along religious and whatever. And there's something going around, saying something to the effect that, Christians shouldn't vote for you because you're not in the driver's seat, because Buhari is an Islamist and whatever. Having some interaction with Buhari in the first instance, do you see him as a fundamentalist?
No, he's not. He's not. This is propaganda. It's essentially.
Does he pray with you? Do you pray for him?
I pray for him. I pray for him every day.
I mean, do you like, if you want to have a meeting, two of you, do you say, look, I'm a pastor, or does he, do you have that kind of personal relationship with him?
I do, but I haven't had an occasion where I've had to say,
But he hasn't shown, has he shown any traits
that you find worrying? Not at all. Look, Buhari is the people around him, his driver, his cook, his bodyguards, except 2 of them, are all Christians.
Really?
All Christians, including some of those who were killed when it was attacked, that terrorist attack in Kaduna. They're all Christians. And one of the things he says regularly when people talk about this Islamization, he says, look, if I can't Islamize my driver and my cook, who I pay. If I can't Islamize them, how am I going to Islamize Okorocha or Rotimi Amici or Adam Oshomale or Yemi Osinbajo? Yeah, that's what he says. I mean, as far as it's concerned, this is a huge joke. I mean, here was a guy who was head of state in Nigeria when he had absolute power. As head of state in a military regime, of course, it's absolute power. There's no legislature, nothing. It is the president, it is the head of state military head of state who appoints all governors. He appoints all ministers. Of the 19 governors then, 11 of those he appointed were Christians. Of the ministers then, all of whom he appointed, 70% of them were Christians. He had a chance as military head of state to join the Organization of Islamic Countries. His deputy was a Muslim. He refused. He said, this country is a secular state. This country cannot join the OIC. Of course, after he was overthrown in 1995, he was in detention from 1995 to 1998. It was 1998 that the then military government joined the OIC. So this man who people say is an Islamist had an opportunity to join the Organization of Islamic Countries. He refused. He refused. So I think that it's unfortunate, and the point you made is very important, that we're faced in this country with a situation where the ruling party, the PDP, and unfortunately the president, chose to play the tribal card. It chose to play the religious card.
And even the tribal card.
And the tribal card. And I think it's a very sad and unfortunate. The point you made is very important. Some of the closest friends that I have are Muslims. In the cabinet of Lagos State, when I was in the cabinet of Lagos State, some of the closest people to me, the Aregbe Shola, Babatunde Fashola, some of the closest people, they were Muslims. But that did not stop the fact that these individuals were committed to the same things I was committed to: good governance, trying to work for the good of this country.
Yeah.
Sometimes we would argue, the governor, of course, as you know, was also a Muslim.
Yeah.
That didn't stop them. But when I said, as a Christian, I said, do you know what? Every year, we must have a Thanksgiving service. First Sunday of every year, we must have a Thanksgiving service as a government.
Okay.
All of us must come together. Judges, legislature, everything. Everybody considered. That Thanksgiving service is attended by everyone, Muslims and Christians alike. It's a Christian service, but all of them attended. And you know what is most interesting? As we speak, there was a Thanksgiving service this last year. Every year since 1999, there's been a Thanksgiving service in Lagos State, up until this moment.
Yeah.
And you see, the point of the matter is this. I think that we must be careful with playing that religious card. Unfortunately, in this wild, sometimes this ambition to rule, this ambition to remain there. People try and play all sorts of games, and I think this particular game is dangerous. It's a very dangerous game. I mean, what difference does it make?
Well, I think what is most important is for those who get involved in all these things. It's no longer even about Nigeria. If Nigeria doesn't get you, the ICC will. Look at where Gbagbo is. Look at where Taylor is. And there's some others that are also, those who did this genocide in Kosovo and all, some of them are standing trial. It might not make headlines now, but these things go on. So it's important that people should note this.
Absolutely.
But one of the things that worries people is they like to understand the relationship between you and the man we call the man downtown, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. I don't know, what kind of relationship you have with him? I mean, does he? Let me put it. Somebody here said. You remember somebody here said that if you end up being vice president, are you going to vacate this? That's the kind of thinking that goes on. Are you going to vacate the seat? That's actually the other joke.
Let me first, just to lay some kind of foundation to answer this question.
Yeah.
One thing that you must agree with about Asiwaju Bola Tinubu,
yes,
is that he always pushes the best people forward, always, without exception.
Whatever you think about it.
And whatever else you may say. But let me say something. Look at what has happened in the various APC states. He pushed forward Babajide Fashola to the party. He put forward Kayode Fayemi, who everybody agrees performed well in Ekiti, did well.
But forgot the stomach.
He put forward Aregbe Shola, who has created maybe some of the most incredible social programs in Osun State there. He put forward Ajimobi. He put forward Amosu in Ogun State. The infrastructural revolution that you see going on there is a product of that kind of thing. This is the same person who, when I was appointed Attorney General, I had never met him before. Never.
You're kidding me?
Not once. No, I'd never met him before. Never met him before.
Who put your name forward to him?
I don't know. I did not belong to his party. I didn't belong to anything. I was just there. He met me one day, and I recall it was March 6th. March 6th, 1999.
Okay.
And he said to me across the table, I'd worked on a policy committee, the Justice Policy Committee of his transition program. I was appointed to that, like Mrs. Kuye. Priscilla Kuya was chairman, I was secretary. And he met me across the table and said to me, I want you to be Attorney General under me. I said, wait a minute, I'm not a Lagosian. I'm not from Lagos State. Secondly, I don't belong to your party. I don't belong to any party. He said, you go and think about it. If you're ready to be Attorney General, if you're ready to work with me, then the issue of whether you're Lagosian or not Lagosian, I'll deal with the party. I'll deal with the party. You don't worry about that. You can think about it. I've never met him before. Yemi Kaduso, Wale Edu, Dele Alake, all of those people who he put forward are all individuals who he saw would be able to do a good job. And that's the way that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has always operated. Anybody, I mean, Fashola and I were senior advocates serving in his government. If anybody argues with Asiwaju to the point where he would say, I'm the governor, you guys leave me alone, I'm the governor, it's Fashola and I. Yet, when he was going to look for someone to be governor, when he wanted to put someone forward, he put Fashola forward. Why did he put $5 forward? He wasn't looking for a stooge. He never looked for stooges. You see, the thing about Asiwaju that many people probably know, one of the key things that many people know about him is that he never is in search of a stooge. He's ready to stand up to an argument. He's ready to stand up to disagreements all the time. When we were debating the land use charge in Lagos, we argued from 7 p.m. till about 11. He stormed out of his office. It wasn't just me, myself, Lai Mohammed, Yemi Kadoso, Dele Alake, Wale, and Aregbesola. He stormed out of his office and said, "You guys don't have a mandate. I'm the one who was voted for. And this is the way I'm going." And we remained in his office, nobody left. He came back to his office at about 12:30. This was AM, this was 12:30 AM. And we argued until 4 AM. Before we could reach any kind of resolution. That's the kind of guy that he is. He's not the kind of person who is looking for a stooge. No, he's never looking for a stooge. And so my relationship with him is a continuous engagement on the key issues. That
so it's not as if you're standing in for him.
Of course,
in this. But he initially said he wanted to be VP.
Well, I don't know
when that was going on. You know, it was reported in the papers.
Well, I don't.
You don't know about that.
I don't know about that. Really. I think there's a lot that might have been said by people. I don't.
But do you think he ever wanted to be VP himself?
Well, no. He's a politician. I think that he would even want to be president. Why would he be?
We have a caller. We forgot to speak of that. Sorry. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Can you speak up, please? Your name and make it short, sharp, and okay, and direct. Hello. Hello. The line is bad. We just lost a caller now. Okay, I think we might just have to take one more break. Oh, the caller is back. The caller is back. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Jimi Disu. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Who's calling? Okay, from where?
I'm calling from Lagos.
Okay, yes. Go on.
I just want us to be very careful in what we are doing now.
Yes.
Because people just go about saying a particular section of the country has not collected BBC or so.
Yes.
My driver, Baba Aminu, has not collected his BBC. He's a Yoruba man.
Yes.
My mechanic saw yesterday at the first gate, they told me he has not collected his BBC.
Yes.
Because one of my staff who wanted to get accommodation the other day had to go, and the landlord told him that since you people are saying that you people are more than us in Lagos, that means you cannot live in my house. So we should be careful some of the things people say. We have not had these issues before, and then people like Olisemedu should not stir up statements and everything.
I know you are referring to yesterday. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, yesterday I had a guest here, Abaniko, who said that the APC were preventing non-Yorubas from, and I said to myself, INEC staff are not all INEC staff are even Yoruba staffers. And he went on and on. And later we discovered that all the people who called in actually were calling from the same veteran. In fact, one number called in twice. And yes, of course, I stood my ground that I wouldn't allow that happen. I think nothing like that is happening. He said that they would say, ask for your state of origin and brought some kind of proof, but I'm not going to get involved in all that. I have another caller. Let me give our callers a chance, and then we'll go. Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam. How are you? Where are you calling from? What's your name?
My name is Omar Arike.
Yes.
I'm calling from Akute.
Yes.
I'd like to speak to Professor Osinbajo.
Turn down the volume. Turn down the volume of your radio.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yes. Okay, go on.
Okay, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Prof. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Professor.
Good afternoon. How are you?
My name is Arike.
Yeah, go on. We've heard you here.
All right, sir. I'd like to know what's empowerment in Nigeria.
What?
The empowerment of women.
Oh, women.
What do you have for? Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Women. She's talking about empowerment. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think that the first thing to understand is that women are really at the center of practically all of our policies. Our policies are people-centered. Our party, in writing our manifesto, one of the questions that we asked is, how will this benefit the common man? Those who suffer the most in conditions of poverty are women. And that's why it's so important for us that every one of our policies somehow or the other centers around them. Look at our free meals policy. Free meals for all children in public primary schools. All children in public primary schools. That will definitely affect children and, of course, the relationship of that to all women. It's something I think that will be very, very important in dealing with some of the problems that poor women especially have. We also have something called conditional cash transfers. Some have described it as Oweya in Yoruba, and there are various other translations. But how this works out is this: money will be handed over, especially to the mothers who have children in primary school, whose children are enrolled, especially in public primary schools, and whose children participate in immunization. There will be a monthly stipend that will be paid. It's called a conditional cash transfer. The whole point of this is to first ensure that these women are empowered, because the poorest, when you look at the demography, the poorest people in our midst, there's 110 million poor people. Vast majority of them are women, and they suffer the most from poverty. So the whole idea is that even in these conditional cash transfers, we intend to hand over money to the poorest women on the condition that their children are enrolled in school, and also on the condition that their children are immunized. There's also, so this is a very, very major program. We're looking at 25 million of the poorest people in Nigeria. But the money, one of the policy issues is, who will the money be handed over to? The money will be handed over to the mothers, because we believe that the mothers will be able to handle this better, be able to, a lot of them are involved in trading in one shape or form or the other. And they are the ones directly responsible for the upbringing of their children. They're the ones who take the children to school. They're the ones who usually take the children for immunization. Yes. So that's absolutely important.
And that can be found in your manifesto.
Yes.
Online.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Kami, you wanted to say, by the way, Kami Adebule is an old friend of mine. He's a Gregorian. Yes, that tells you a lot, doesn't it? That tells you a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He'd like to ask you something. Kami, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, thanks. Very quickly. I actually wanted to ask about religion and the state, but I think we better skip that.
No, go ahead. Because
yeah, I wanted to ask Prof, actually, in view of the hate-filled atmosphere and a lot of things that are built up. You know, the framers of the American Constitution, if you read the Federalist paper, I think Federalist 37, was very emphatic that there has to be a demarcation between religion and politics in order to protect religion against the corruptive effect of politics. I remember reading that at school, and the more I see all these things happening in Nigeria, I think that I agree with them, actually, that there should be a strict demarcation, almost a Chinese wall between politics and religion, and that a too close a relationship between religion and politics is actually a contradiction in a republic. And the second thing I wanted to ask very quickly, Jimmy, I'm sorry, I'm sorry about that, is this, that I read the manifesto because of the APC, I got it from Lai Mohammed when I was here in this studio with Jimmy. I wanted to ask you very quickly that one of the complaints that a lot of people who would have voted APC if the election had taken place on Saturday is that the manifesto was largely uncosted, unlike Awolowo's manifesto in 1977, 1979, you know, when I just finished youth corps. And finally, within the profound disillusionment that you have in this country today, which would have led, I think the conventional wisdom was that it would have led to a victory for your principal. Do you think that you are raising expectations which you might not have the political will to meet?
Well, I think that let me make a quick remark on the second question about putting the cost rate. The rate at which the naira is falling, I don't think you'll be able to put a cost to something except you're going to denominate it in dollars. As we speak now, the pound sterling is about fluctuating between 310 and 315.
Incredible.
Incredible. In October, it was 296. Yeah. That was bad enough. Now it's fluctuating between 310 and so. If you're going to put the cost to it, I'd advise that you put it in dollars.
So that's a good one.
Okay, go, bro.
Well, what you say about the American Constitution is true, but the Nigerian Constitution is also clear. It uses the words, "There shall be no state religion." In other words, there is no question at all that government business is not religion. At all. There's no question. Now, even in America, you find that very frequently people who are looking for political advantage sometimes play the religious card. Sometimes they do that. And I think that despite the clarity of our Constitution, people still play the religious card. There's no question that there should be a separation of church and state. And you know that what is important, or religion and state, beg your pardon, what is important is that the role that faith should play in our lives should be reflected in practice. We shouldn't be using government or the state to advance the causes of a particular faith. But faith should enable us to do the right things. A man of faith, anyone who says I'm a Christian, should be able to say, it means I'm against corruption. It means I'm against impunity. It means I must be fair to all, whether they're Muslims, Christians, or animists. I must be fair to everyone. It means that I must be able to speak truth to power. If I see a person who is stealing money, I don't care whether it's a Christian or a priest or a pastor or whatever. I will be able to say to him, you're stealing money, that is stealing, you must not do so. You must face the law. That's what our faith should do for us. Our faith should be, so faith is useful, but it's useful in advancing the causes of governance.
Okay, we have a caller here. Let's see. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, madam. How are you?
I'm fine.
Who's calling, please?
My name is Dami.
Dami, okay. Dami, are you Dami Lola or Dami Larry? Sorry?
Yes, I'm Dami Lola.
Dami Lola, okay, go on, please.
Yes, I'm calling from Surulere.
Okay, yeah, go on.
I would like to ask you a question, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to ask him, what plan does he have for us on education in Nigeria?
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I want to
That's all I want to go. Okay, so education, just paraphrase.
Okay. Very quickly. Education in Nigeria, what we're looking at is free education, primary and secondary. Then at the tertiary level, that's university level, we're looking at free education for science, technology, engineering, and maths. And then for education, that's for teachers. That's in the first phase, before we go on to free education for management sciences, humanities, and all that.
Sorry, Prof. Very quickly, is it free education, covers accommodation and everything?
Yeah, free education.
For education?
Yes, for education, that's for teachers.
Okay.
Then for science, for technology, engineering, and maths. Now, we're also looking at relevant education. You see, because what we need to do today is to equip people in school for technology, for all of what is required now. What we need now is relevant education. Look at all of the countries of the world. Look at what's going on in Singapore, look at what's going on in Hong Kong, all of these places where young men and women are making great advances, even in Rwanda. It is relevant education. It's not enough to be tech savvy. It's not enough to be able to use our phones to do all sorts of things or to get on the internet. We need to be able to use technology to advance all of the causes that we have today. Technology to advance education, technology to advance commerce and business, technology for everything. And we need relevant education to be able to do that. That's the reason why we have to change our curriculum. At the moment, we're working on a change of our curriculum from primary school.
Okay.
We're looking at what happens in Estonia, where primary school children are taught to write programs. They are taught to write computer programs. They are taught a computer language. And this is the age, it's at that age when children can learn those things. If you don't teach children at that age, because what computers have done and what generally technology has done is that it has changed practically everything. There's a new language, there's a new way of doing things, and you have to teach that language from when people are young. You have to teach people even how to write that language and how to write applications to solve the problems of the future. And you must start teaching them from when they're young.
Yeah.
So there are two things we're doing. We're changing our curriculum so that we can write all of these things I'm saying into it. We're also teaching accelerated reading and writing from primary school. So there's a lot that's going to happen in education, and you know that that's a passion for me. I'm a teacher, so that's really a passion.
There's one here. It says, how do you handle epileptic power supply in Nigeria despite huge amount spent by field? Yes, that is one. This is by Fresh Oil Alomage. He's talking about power supply. That is very crucial. What's the program for power supply?
It's many things. It's many things. I mean, people will say to you that Nigeria's power problem is actually an energy problem.
Okay.
In other words, the problem is that we don't have gas going to the power plants. But it goes beyond that, obviously. There are several things. Let me just start with, let's just take gas as an example. Obviously, we need to have gas piped to all of our IPPs, to the generating plants. We need gas going there. At the moment, we don't have a gas infrastructure that can service generation.
Okay.
We need to build that gas infrastructure, but it will take a long time to completely build that infrastructure. Now, what do we do in the interim? Our strategy is to decentralize power generation and generally power supply. Take an example of Lagos, just to explain what we mean by decentralizing. Lagos has on Lagos Island, has an independent power plant, which services the public buildings and services the street lights. They have one in Ikeja also, services public buildings and services the street lights. There are about 3 or 4 now. One services is due the waterworks. Now, the point of that is that that power plant is more or less embedded, right? It services a particular location. It doesn't go through the grid. It's an off-grid solution. It doesn't go through the national grid. The national grid has only a capacity to take 7,200 megahertz of power. That's its full capacity for now. Of course, that capacity needs to be increased. So even if you had 12,000 megahertz of power, it can't all go through the grid. So we now need to go off-grid to supply and cable power to different areas and to different places. And we're not constrained by gas, because you can use any type of gas. The one on Lagos Island now uses compressed natural gas. The gas is trucked there. It's not piped there. And then the power is cabled to the different places. It's cabled to the different places where that use of that power.
But this will be private sector driven, I assume.
Government will have a role to play, but of course the private sector will be actively involved in it. As a matter of fact, we're hoping that most of it will be private sector driven. You know, of course, there will be areas where government has to intervene. The reason why government may have to intervene is that the private sector is profit motivated. They would want only areas where they can make money.
That is true.
Now, you may not be able to make money in some hinterland places. That's government's business. Everybody wants power in Nigeria. Everybody needs power. So the government will have to involve itself where the private sector is unable to fill the gap. But
who are not necessarily politicians. Have you started identifying the people one by one?
Oh, we're working with a wide variety of people.
Oh, okay.
Experts.
Experts.
I know that's always been the strength.
So is your cabinet going to be more political than
well, I'm not
technical driven.
I know that. I know that the discussions we've been having all along, and General Buhari's major what propels him and what he wants to do is to have a cabinet of very competent Nigerians.
Yeah.
And his emphasis is on young people. Very competent young people.
You're not talking about General Buhari again. I saw in one headline about 2 days ago, I think, it says, I'm not going to be a spare tire. But you see, Nigerians, I wish we had a more robust democracy where we could do things, in a much better atmosphere, well-rounded manner. What do I mean by that? For example, I believe that we've gotten to a point where when you want to appoint like a president or a governor, you need to take a look at his wife. You need to take a look at his deputy, because I see a vice president or a deputy governor as a president in waiting. Hopefully, it will be through a smooth whatever. If the vice president desires after the tenure of the president, he wants to go into politics, and hopefully nothing would happen. But whether we like it or not, in real terms, a vice president could jolly well just be a president tomorrow. Are you ready to be president if that happens? I mean, are you psychologically ready? Can you pull the trigger?
I am ready to serve this country in
whatever capacity that arises.
What I think is very important, and one of the reasons why I think we have the best possible opportunity now, is that for some reason God has made it happen that we have a man like General Buhari whose clarity on issues of governance, especially corruption, is known to every Nigerian. So I think we have a very excellent combination.
Yeah.
I think we have an excellent combination. I think I think it's a chance in a million.
What's your feel of the way the campaign is going? For those of you on the inside, I mean, so you probably be reactive. For those of us on the outside who can see things in some kind of balance, we're getting frightened. These guys, your opponents, are throwing everything but the kitchen sink. Talking about General Buhari doing this and his child who died and things like that, and it's all getting very, very messy.
Yes.
How do you react to some of these things?
It's desperation.
Yeah, we know it's desperation, but don't you get a sense? Doesn't it frighten you?
No, I'm not. I'm not bothered at all. I'm not frightened at all. You see, because if you're playing football and the opponent, rather than go for the ball, goes for the leg.
Like Mato used to do in those days in the movie.
I know what happens there. When you do it a few times, the people will show you the red card. Show you the red card. I think the Nigerian people have shown the journalists.
Where's Mato? Do you have an idea where Mato is?
I came across him about a few months ago.
He's
actually in Lagos.
Yeah, I remember those good old days of school football. To the Martin.
Excellent player of the game.
Okay. All right, let's take another. Oh, the caller has gone. So we'll take a break so that you can rest a while. And then, what would you like to listen to?
That's the second Collins one. Did you get it?
You got Phil Collins.
Phil Collins? Which one is my Phil Collins?
You don't have them.
We're not by Phil Collins. William McDowell.
Oh, it's okay. Fine.
Okay, fine. What's it called?
You are probably there.
You want?
Oh, I thought it was actually Phil Collins. I saw
Phil Craig, actually.
You are
Phil Craig,
alone.
Oh, you are God alone.
Phil Craig. Phil Craig.
So we can listen to that.
Okay, we'll take your God alone, and then we'll be
I didn't
right
answer the
back.
question on costing. Yeah.
Oh, we'll answer it when we get back.
Okay.
I'd like to actually.
Yeah.
Okay. As soon as we get back, you answer.
Sure.
Now.
So how are you doing? Enjoy yourself.
Excellent.
I do this every Sunday. I've been doing it for about 2 years.
I thought that was Dragon Ball Z.
I don't believe I've done that much.
I thought that was Dragon Ball Z.
You know Dragon Ball Z?
Very popular. Very popular.
Uncle Jay, we have adverts at 3:15. No, you're going over your time, and these adverts are paid for this time.
What adverts are they?
Well, there's one APC, there's Nigeria Karaoke, there's even a.
No, that's a Cultico. Cultico, we done what they did last week.
No, Lawrence, what they did last week, Lawrence. She could push all the books down to
Push all of them down.
and it was a really long ad break.
How many people have called up to say that but I'm supposed to do the
Huh? Sounds like.
Like what?
Wait, I'm coming. Wait.
What's wrong?
No, it sounds like someone.
Sounds like.
She's saying that he sounds like someone else. What she's saying.
Sounds like someone.
no, except but let me tell you,
All right, seconds to go.
well, John, are you mad at this?
Yes, sir.
That's why I ended up.
I thought it meant
Which year was that? No.
Well, I check.
The Discourse with Jimi Disu.
Ready?
Good to go. Yeah, you're right back to the Discourse with Jimi Disu, and I still have in the studio Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Prof, before you answer, the caller is back. We have a caller very quickly. Yes, good afternoon. Your name, please.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Please, can you please speak up a bit, please?
My name is Readiness, sir.
Please speak up a bit, please.
Hello, sir.
Please speak up. Speak up a bit. Yes.
Hello, I have a question for Prof, sir.
Yes.
I just want to ask him, as the plans he has to cut corruption in the country. So the corruption level in the country is really, really high.
What again, sir?
My name is Readiness.
To cut what?
Corruption.
Oh, corruption. Oh, okay.
Plans, yes.
Yeah, the plans for corruption.
Corruption, yes, sir.
Yeah. What is your plan to build more prisons?
No. You see, the first, I think the first thing to note, and this is why one of the strong reasons why we've been calling for a change is because we want to be able to start, and when I say we, I mean General Buhari wants to be able to exemplify transparency and accountability in government. Everybody knows that he's serious about the anti-corruption fight, and that he will fight corruption. Everybody knows that. But we also believe that it must be exemplified in government. In other words, those who are in government must first set the example. But the second thing is that the reason why we have the impunity that we have today is because there is no consequence for corruption. You can be corrupt and get away with it. One of the key things that the APC government intends to do is to ensure that there is consequence for corruption. So we strengthen all of the institutions, the EFCC, that's the EFCC, the ICPC, the investigating bodies, all of them need independence, but most importantly, they need to know that the number one person and all of the people in government will not place themselves above the law. In other words, everybody wants to know, is there the political will to fight corruption? It's not just rhetoric. You don't just say, we're against corruption, we're against corruption. I mean, look, this government has rhetoric about corruption, but a minister is said to have spent 10 billion on servicing a private jet.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened. There's no investigation, nothing. Money is missing, NMPC, lots of money is missing, no investigation. Petroleum subsidies cut, nothing. It's not because they don't have the rhetoric, it's not because of what they're saying, it is because they are not demonstrating it. There is no political will from the number one man at the top. So that's the second thing, political will. Third thing is to ensure that the institutions are strengthened. We need to have our judiciary strengthened with rules that will help it to process cases on corruption much faster. That we need to do. That will be by way of legislative reform, judicial reform, and we intend to do that as well. So the key thing is that we will set the example, we'll ensure that there's consequence of corruption. I mean, look, if a public officer, let's say for myself, vice president, by the grace of God, I'm serving as vice president. The next thing you see is that there's a hotel coming up in Abuja, a 12-story hotel coming up in Abuja. And they say, oh, that hotel belongs to the vice president.
Run on his behalf by Jimi Disu.
No, not on his behalf, by his old school friend, Jimi Disu. And then I say, what the government ought to do. Everybody knows that the General Buhari government is not tolerate that. But what the government ought to do, what the EFCC ought to do is to say, sir, explain how come
this came
you are building, we thought your salary was 300,000 a month. How come you are building this multi-billion naira thing? They ought to ask those questions. Unexplained wealth is one of the key reasons why people think in this country there is no law and there's no one fighting corruption.
But let me ask you, Prof, don't you think that this strong policy you have on corruption is probably what is responsible for the strong, for a lot of the strong, I don't want to use the word reaction now. Okay, for one of the better word reactions you're getting in terms of trying to prevent you from coming into government?
Well, we've got to be honest and forthright with the Nigerian people. We've got to tell the Nigerian people what we will do. Okay. We've got to be forthright and straightforward with the Nigerian people. We have to tell them what we will do. But the other thing that I want you to take note of is that our government will be one run strictly by the rule of law. Okay. It will be under the rule of law.
You're not going to be losing anybody they create or
no witch hunting. no witch hunting. Nothing that will be untoward, nothing that will be contrary to law. And certainly no witch hunting. You see, the point is that if you decide that the first thing you're going to do in government is to begin to investigate everybody, you'll never get any work. There has been systemic corruption in this country. Corruption that has affected almost every institution of governance. So even in dealing with corruption, you've got to be careful, not be looking so much backwards that you trip yourself when you fall over. We've got to have a creative way, an innovative way of ensuring that we are not wasting time.
Are you going to be saying to those who in the past your sins are forgiven but sin no more, and off they go with all the loot?
No.
Or you'll be...
Let me tell you what General Buhari himself has said.
Okay.
General Buhari himself has said that, look, I'm not going to spend my time looking backwards. Okay. I'm not going to spend my time looking for everybody who has stolen money everywhere. No, I can't spend my time doing that. But I'm going to draw the line somewhere. And I'm going to say, look, from today, there are certain rules that must be kept. Of course, there will be issues that may come up. There will be issues that may come up, which must be addressed. There will be issues that come up that must be addressed. But he's not going to spend time, and this is what he said repeatedly. He's not going to spend time running after.
Will you, for example, be doing fresh audits of the sensitive government corporations and departments?
I think there are
like NNPC and
I think there are enough reports. There are enough reports. Personally, I think there are enough reports. I think that, for example, if you look at NNPC, there have been 3, 4, 5 different reports. As we will refer to, there's the extractive industry report, there's this latest PwC report. There's so many reports. The issue really is not with reports, it's implementing what these reports have said. Implementing it. And you see, don't forget that when you have, as we have in the country today, complete impunity, everybody doing what they like, from the very top to the bottom, people doing exactly what they like. Some people who are not even minded to do these things have become involved in it inadvertently. So we've got to be fair that where you have a system that's running riot, the way the system is running riot, when you come in as a new government, you're not just going to come in as a crusader. You've got to have that at the back of your mind. That look, we're coming from a season of, as Scripture says, when everybody did as they liked. But in a new season, we've got to come with understanding. We've got to come with fairness. We've got to come with justice. We're not going to repair everything in one day. But we must have clarity that that this country cannot be run in a manner where people are stealing the funds that must provide hospitals, must provide schools. When people are dying every day in hospitals and people are stealing billions away, that will be completely unacceptable. For me, it's unacceptable. Of course, for General Buhari, completely unacceptable.
Okay, I'm going to do something that I did yesterday, because this program originally was meant to be was supposed to dovetail into the elections on Saturday, but now the elections are 6 weeks away. I don't know whether I'll have to do it again. But yesterday, the PDP, they were here, and there's a pity so many questions are coming up, the Kitty crisis and so on, but I wanted to try to keep you to while you're here. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes to, like I did yesterday. So before people start crucifying me, I did the same thing yesterday. 3 minutes free of charge. I have Mrs. Okoye's permission that you can talk to the Nigerian people and just go on. Tell them why they should vote for you and the general.
Thank you.
I think I'm generous, aren't I?
I'm sorry?
I'm generous, aren't I? 3 minutes at a time. 3.
Maybe 6 minutes. Being old friend. Being old friend. I think the Nigerian people need a change. This country has 110 million poor people. 80% of graduates have no jobs. Healthcare is a problem. The other day, a woman was talking to me about how her daughter, who was pregnant, died here in Lagos because she couldn't pay what she was required to pay for a cesarean section. There are too many tales of war, too many tales of poverty, too many problems here and there. The business of government is to provide for the majority of its people. That's the business of government. You must provide for those who do not have, you must provide education, you must provide healthcare, you must provide social security for the disabled, for the elderly who are poor. We must make provision. For too long, governments in Nigeria, especially at the center, the federal government, has been so detached from the people. You don't even understand what they're doing. If a government needs to advertise in the newspapers, by advertisements, what it has been doing in the past 6 years, it means it hasn't been doing anything. The people must be the advertisement of what government is doing. That is why the scripture says that when the righteous are in power, the people rejoice. Are the people of Nigeria rejoicing today? They're not. And the reason is that the people are the advertisement of good government. The people must be clothed, they must be provided for, their children must be educated. When they go to hospitals, they must be able to get basic health care free of charge. They must have social security. Our markets must boom. There's no reason why we should have currency, why we should have the exchange rate situation that we have now. We've had $110 oil per barrel of oil for almost 5 years. There's no reason why our reserves should be depleted. What we need today is an honest, forthright government that is serious about corruption, determined to ensure that every penny that is earned by Nigeria goes towards programs that will help the people of Nigeria to live better lives.
Yeah, okay.
That's why you need the government of General Buhari. That is why you need an APC government. That's why we need this change. The whole country is crying out for change.
Okay.
Not because of anyone, but because we need this newness. We need a new Nigeria.
Okay, very quickly before you go, very quickly in one sentence.
Yeah.
Do you have the financial capacity to continue the campaign from now for another 6 weeks if you decide that you still want to go ahead with because there could be a boycott or something?
Do you know that the APC's campaign has never been based on financial motive? We don't have the 21 billion that was allegedly raised by the PDP overnight. This campaign, people have taken it on. Everywhere you go, the campaign has taken on a life.
But is it true that a top industrialist offered you money that you rejected?
Yeah, well, it's true that somebody offered us money that I rejected. Yeah.
Is it the same person I'm thinking of?
I don't know who you're thinking of.
Well, but was it 50 billion that he offered?
I don't know how much was offered.
But it was rejected.
Well, there was somebody, not necessarily, and I don't want to use the word top industrialist. There's somebody who offered money.
So some offer you money and you reject it.
Oh, yeah, there's some people who you can't accept money from.
Yeah. But because
it comes with lots of strings attached.
Strings attached.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Will you come back a week to the election when we do this all over?
I'd like to.
Then we'll talk about this man who offered you.
I'd like to. Thank you.
But do you think he's the person I'm thinking of?
I don't think so. Somehow I don't think so.
Can you whisper it to me just so that for my
somehow I don't think so. The truth of the matter is that several people, you know how it is.
Yeah.
There's some people who the source of their money.
Yeah, it's
strange. You don't know where their money comes from. And some you know the source, and you know that the source is not the source that you can.
I think General Buhari said that something to the effect like, well, the new government that comes in will not be dealing with businessmen whose major shareholders are from the finances are from government money and so on. I think he made a joke, something around that when he met investors, but we'll leave that for another day, okay?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, Prof. It's funny calling you Prof, But I know when you become vice president, I'll have to call Excellency. Madam Ale.
No, don't worry. I won't need to be called Excellency. My friend Direct Shola
it's called
Ogweni. I don't use Excellency.
But somebody who went to university with who became a governor, even in the privacy of his room, couldn't call him otherwise. Do you know the person I'm talking about? You think so? I told you I had to change from school. Okay, it's been nice having Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the vice presidential candidate of the APC.
Yes.
And I wish you all the best. This is my personal greeting to you. I wish you all the best. I'm not supposed to be partisan, but you're my own. So I cannot wish you otherwise. It's nice to have a vice president as a friend. You can pick up your phone once in a while and tell him this policeman is harassing me. Talk to him. Okay, the discourse will be on again, God willing, next week. Don't forget, Monday to Friday, front page news. Don't forget, 7 o'clock in the morning. Don't miss it. Monday to Friday, front page news. I don't know what we'll do with the discourse next week. To be honest with you, I'm a bit disillusioned. I'm not. But we'll see how it goes. But next Saturday is Valentine's Day, so that will lift up your spirits a bit. Hopefully by the end of tomorrow, tomorrow's Monday, we'll have the reaction of the APC, and I'll be able to review it for you on Tuesday on Front Page News. And don't miss that. Don't forget to go to my blog and read Tola Adeniyi's piece. It's jimidisu.com. Kwame, thank you very much. Flo, everybody in the studio. We have a full house here and a full compound. The compound is full. At a big van. What's that big van?
It's our traveling bus.
Oh, I thought it was an OB van. It was full of goons,
No.
It was a bomb squad.
It's a traveling bus.
Okay, everybody, all folks, go up there and have a lovely week, and I hope to be with you again next week.
Thanks.
What's not this like? Like small POC can
Let me come now. Yeah, let me take my own.
Toya, come and stop your broadcast. Toya, come and stop your broadcast. I mean, they're seeing all these things happening now. Okay.